The restaurant they chose was nice. Too nice, actually. The kind of place with cloth napkins and waiters who refill your water before you even notice it's empty. My family never took me to places like this. "Happy birthday!" my mother sang as I walked up to their table. She hugged me, followed by my father, my sister Rachel, and my brother David. "Thanks for doing this," I said, sitting down. "You didn't have to go all out." "Nonsense," my father said. "You're 35 today. That's a milestone." Was it? I didn't feel particularly milestone-ish. Just another year older, another year of my accounting job, my apartment, my life. That was fine, just fine. "We ordered champagne," Rachel said. "To celebrate." The waiter poured, we toasted, and dinner began. They asked about work, about my apartment, about whether I was seeing anyone, the usual questions. But something felt off. They kept exchanging glances, little smiles. My mother fidgeted with her napkin. David checked his phone 3 times. "Is everything okay?" I asked. "Of course," my mother said too quickly. "We're just excited about your gift." "We all went in on something together," Rachel explained. "Something we think you really need." That was odd. Usually I got separate gifts. A joint gift was new. We finished dinner. The whole time that strange energy persisted, like they were building up to something. Finally, my mother pulled out a large envelope from her purse. Cream-colored, expensive-looking, with my name in calligraphy. "Before you open it," my father said, "we want you to know this comes from a place of love." "Just open it," Rachel urged. I unsealed the envelope and pulled out a leather folder with documents inside. At the top was a glossy brochure. Renaissance Life Coaching, Transforming Lives, Realizing Potential. I stared at it, not understanding. Beneath it was a contract, a 12-month contract with Renaissance Life Coaching, already signed by my family. Prepaid, a line at the bottom for my signature. "What is this?" I asked slowly. "It's a life coach," my mother said brightly. "We hired you a life coach for a full year. All paid for, you just have to show up." I looked at each of them, all smiling, all waiting. "You hired me a life coach. The best in the city," my father added. "She's worked with CEOs, celebrities, people who've completely transformed their lives. Why would I need a life coach?" The smiles faltered. "Well," Rachel began carefully, "we just thought you've been kind of stuck lately." "Stuck?" "In a rut," David clarified. "Same job for 10 years, same apartment, same routine. We thought professional guidance could help you. Level up." I set the folder down. Level up. "We just want you to reach your full potential," my mother said. "We're worried about you," my father said. "You're 35, single, no real ambitions. When we were your age, we had families, careers, goals. You're just coasting." The word hit me like a slap. "This life coach can help with everything," Rachel said. "Career advancement, relationships, fitness, financial planning." "Because apparently I don't know what I want from life," I said quietly. "Do you?" David challenged. "When's the last time you talked about a goal, a dream?" I couldn't answer that. "See?" my mother said gently. "We just think you've lost your way. That's why we're giving you this gift." "What if I don't want this?" I asked. "We've already paid for it," my father said. $12,000. Non-refundable." $12,000. I stopped, stunned. "On you," my mother corrected. "On your future." "And who am I meant to be?" "Someone more," Rachel said. "Someone successful, ambitious, fulfilled. Not just someone who goes to work, comes home, watches TV, and repeats." The table fell silent. "So this is what you all think of me," I said finally. "That my life is so pathetic it requires professional intervention? We're saying we love you and want better for you," my mother insisted. "Did it occur to any of you to ask me if I'm happy?" "Are you?" my father asked pointedly. Was I? I thought about my apartment, my job, my peaceful weekends. "I'm content," I said. "Content isn't enough," Rachel said. "You should be thriving, not just existing." "According to who? You?" "According to anyone with ambition," David muttered. I stood abruptly. Other diners glanced over. "Thank you for dinner," I said, my voice shaking. "And thank you for the gift. Nothing says, 'Happy birthday,' like, 'Your life is a disappointment.'" "That's not fair," my mother began. "You spent $12,000 to tell me I'm not good enough, that everything about my life needs to be fixed." "We just want you to be happy," Rachel said. "I am happy. Or I was, until you decided my happiness doesn't count because it doesn't look like yours." I grabbed my jacket and walked out. My father called after me, but I didn't stop. At home, I poured whiskey and sat on my couch. My phone buzzed. "Mom, please don't be upset. We were trying to help." "Rachel, you're overreacting. It's a gift, not an insult." "David, grow up and accept that people are trying to help you." I turned my phone off. Was I overreacting? But they hadn't asked if I wanted to improve. They'd decided I needed it. They'd looked at my life and found it lacking. The worst part was, a small part of me wondered if they were right. Was I wasting my potential? I looked around my apartment. Books on shelves, plants on the windowsill, photos from trips I'd taken alone, a life I'd built quietly. It wasn't impressive, but it was mine. And up until tonight, I'd thought that was enough. I didn't talk to my family for a week. They tried calling, texting, even my father showed up at my apartment once. I pretended I wasn't home. The leather folder sat on my kitchen counter, where I'd finally retrieved it from the restaurant. I'd gone back the next day, embarrassed, and the hostess had handed it to me with a sympathetic smile. Apparently, my dramatic exit had been memorable. Every time I walked past the folder, I felt a mixture of anger and shame. Anger at my family for their judgment. Shame because maybe they were right. I started noticing things. How my apartment was exactly the same as it had been 5 years ago. How my coworkers talked about promotions, and I never did. How my weekends followed the same pattern. Grocery shopping Saturday morning, meal prep Saturday afternoon, reading Saturday night, cleaning Sunday, repeat. When had I become so predictable? My friend Tom called on Thursday. We'd been college roommates, stayed close over the years. "Haven't heard from you in a while," he said. "Everything okay?" I told him about the birthday dinner, the life coach, the whole disaster. He was quiet for a moment. "That's brutal, man. I'm sorry. Am I crazy for being upset?" "No, they basically said your life isn't good enough." "But what if they're right?" The words came out before I could stop them. "What if I am just coasting? What if I'm wasting my life?" "Are you happy?" "I keep getting asked that. I don't know anymore." "Then maybe—" Tom hesitated. "Maybe you should at least meet with the life coach, not because your family's right, but because if you're questioning things anyway, why not get some perspective?" "You think I need fixing too?" "I think you've been in the same place for a long time, and I think you're scared to want more, because wanting more means risking failure." He paused. "Remember sophomore year? You were going to study abroad in Japan. You were so excited. Then you canceled last minute. The timing wasn't right. The timing was perfect. You were scared. Tom's voice was gentle but firm. You do that. You play it safe, convince yourself you're content, and then you never have to risk being disappointed. His words hit harder than my family's had. Because Tom knew me. Really knew me. I don't know what I want, I admitted. Then find out. Use the life coach. Don't use her, whatever. But stop pretending you're happy when you're really just comfortable. After we hung up, I stared at the folder. Inside was a card with Diane Chambers' contact information. One session wouldn't kill me, right? I called before I could change my mind. Renaissance Life Coaching, this is Diane. Her voice was warm, professional. Not what I'd expected. Hi, my family bought me your services as a gift. I cringed at how that sounded. Ah, you must be the birthday boy. Your mother called me last week, very concerned about you. Of course she had. I'm not sure I want to do this, I said honestly. Most people don't, at first. The ones who think they need help usually don't. The ones who insist they don't, they're my best clients. I could hear her smiling. Why don't you come in for one session? Free consultation. If you hate it, you never have to come back. Your family already paid, so they'll never know. And if I don't hate it? Then maybe we work together, maybe we don't. But at least you'll know. I agreed to meet her Tuesday afternoon. That weekend, my mother called. I answered this time. Oh, thank God, she said. I've been so worried. I'm fine, Mom. Are you? Because you walked out on your birthday dinner and haven't spoken to us since. You ambushed me with a life coach. What did you expect? She sighed. I know we handled it badly. Your father thinks we should have just given you a card with her information. Let you decide on your own. That would have been better. But would you have called her? My mother asked. Would you have even considered it? Probably not. The thing is, she continued, we see you settling, and it breaks my heart because you're capable of so much more. You were so bright, so ambitious when you were younger. What happened to that person? He grew up and realized ambition isn't everything. Or he got scared and gave up. That's not fair, isn't it? You wanted to be a financial analyst, work for a big firm in the city. Instead, you took the first safe job that came along and never left. I like my job. Do you, or is it just easy? She wasn't being cruel now, just honest. I'm not saying you need to be Rachel with her high-powered career, or David with his perfect family. I'm saying you should want something, anything. And right now, it seems like you don't. We talked for another hour. She apologized for the way they'd given me the gift. I apologized for storming out. We didn't solve anything, but it felt better. Tuesday came faster than I expected. Diane's office was in a nice building downtown, all glass and modern furniture. She met me in the lobby, mid-50s, kind eyes, wearing jeans and a blazer. Not what I'd pictured. You must be my reluctant client, she said, shaking my hand. Is it that obvious? You have the look, half curious, half ready to bolt. She gestured toward the elevator. Come on, let's talk. Her office was comfortable. Couch, not a weird therapy chair. Bookshelves filled with everything from psychology texts to fiction. A window overlooking the city. So, she said, settling into a chair across from me, tell me why you don't want to be here. Because my family thinks my life is pathetic and needs professional intervention. And what do you think? I think my life is fine. Fine. She wrote something down. Interesting word choice. Not good, not great. Fine. What's wrong with fine? Nothing. If fine is truly what you want, But most people who are genuinely happy don't describe their lives as fine. She looked at me. Let me ask you something. If you could do anything, be anything with no risk of failure, what would it be? I opened my mouth to answer and realized I didn't know. That's what I thought, she said gently. You've spent so long playing it safe that you've forgotten how to dream. I have dreams. Like what? I scrambled for an answer. I want to travel more. Where? I don't know. Europe, maybe. Asia. But you haven't booked a trip. Work is busy. Is it? Or is that an excuse? She leaned forward. Here's what I see. A man who's built a comfortable life that requires nothing of him. No risks, no challenges, no growth. And now he's 35 and wondering why he feels empty. I don't feel empty. Don't you? The question hung in the air. I thought about my apartment, my routine, my safe little world, and suddenly I couldn't remember the last time I'd felt excited about anything. Maybe a little, I admitted. That's okay. Empty isn't permanent. It's just a sign that you've been living small. She smiled. So let's figure out what living big looks like for you. We talked for 2 hours. She asked about my childhood dreams, my abandoned plans, the risks I'd never taken. She didn't judge, didn't push, just listened and asked questions that made me uncomfortable. By the end, I felt exhausted and strangely hopeful. So, she said, coming back next week? Maybe. I'll take maybe. She handed me a worksheet. Your homework. Write down 3 things you've always wanted to do but been too scared to try. We'll start there. I left her office with the worksheet in my pocket, feeling like something had shifted. I wasn't sure what yet. But for the first time in years, I was curious about my own life. And maybe that was enough to start. The worksheet sat on my coffee table for 3 days before I touched it. 3 things I'd always wanted to do, but been too scared to try. Finally, Thursday night, I stared at the blank page. Number 1, learn Japanese, and actually go to Japan. The trip I'd canceled sophomore year still haunted me. I'd had everything arranged, then convinced myself it was too risky. Number 2, start my own financial consulting business. I'd thought about it for years, had the expertise, but starting a business meant leaving security, risking failure. Number 3, apply for the senior analyst position opening up at work. I'd avoided promotions for a decade. More responsibility meant more chances to mess up. I texted the list to Diane. Her response came immediately. Good start. Now tell me what scares you about each one. I typed back. Failure. Looking stupid. Finding out I'm not as capable as I think I am. And if you don't try, I stay safe. Safe and empty. See you Tuesday. That weekend, I did something impulsive. I bought a Japanese language learning app. Spent Saturday morning working through basic phrases, feeling ridiculous and excited. My neighbor, Mrs. Chen, caught me practicing in the hallway. Konnichiwa, I said. She laughed. You learning Japanese? Good. It's never too late to try something new. She was 76 and had just started painting classes. My grandson says I'm too old. I told him too old is when you're dead. Monday morning, I walked into my boss's office. Margaret looked up, surprised. Got a minute? I asked. Sure, what's up? The senior analyst position. I want to apply. She blinked. Really? I thought you liked your current role. I do, but I think I'm ready for more. What changed? I realized I've been coasting, playing it safe. I'm tired of it. Margaret smiled. I've been waiting years for you to say that. You're easily the most qualified person on the team. She pulled out a file. Application deadline is Friday. Fair warning, there are 3 external candidates. Good ones. I understand. Walking back to my desk, I felt terrified and alive. I'd actually committed to something that might not work out. My phone buzzed. Rachel. Mom says you met with the life coach. I did. And? And I applied for a promotion today. Silence. Then, seriously, that's great. What made you decide? I don't know. Maybe you were all right. Maybe I was stuck. The admission hurt less than I expected. I'm trying to unstick myself. I'm proud of you. Her voice was softer. I know we came on strong with the life coach thing, but we really were just worried. I know. I get it now. That Tuesday, my second session with Diane started with her reviewing my homework. You applied for the promotion. That's big. It's terrifying. Good. If it wasn't scary, it wouldn't be worth doing. She leaned back. Tell me about Japan. I told her about the canceled study abroad program, about the regret I'd carried for 13 years. So book a trip, she said simply. Just like that? Why not? You have vacation days. You have money. What's stopping you? She pulled out her laptop. Let's look at flights right now. Right now? You're going to talk yourself out of it otherwise. She turned the screen toward me. 2 weeks in Japan, cherry blossoms, mild weather. My hands were shaking as I looked at flight options. Tokyo to Kyoto to Osaka. 2 weeks. $1,500. I can't just... Yes, you can. That's the whole point. Her voice was firm but kind. Book the flight. I thought about Mrs. Chen. Too old is when you're dead. I clicked purchase. How do you feel? Diane asked. Like I'm going to throw up. Perfect. That's growth. Over the next few weeks, my life became unrecognizable. I studied Japanese every morning, spent evenings working on my business plan, put together my promotion application with actual enthusiasm. My family noticed. Mom called weekly. David sent me a book about entrepreneurship. Rachel offered to review my application. You seem different, my father said when we met for lunch. Lighter somehow. I feel different. Scared, but different. Scared isn't bad. I was scared when I started my practice. He looked at me seriously. I'm sorry about the birthday dinner. The way we handled it. It's okay. You were right, even if the delivery was rough. The promotion interview was scheduled for a Thursday. I prepared obsessively, practiced answers, researched the competition. Margaret and 2 executives interviewed me. I walked in terrified and walked out exhilarated. I'd nailed it. We'll let you know by next week, Margaret said. But between us, you're the front runner. I called Diane from my car. How'd it go? I think I actually have a chance. Of course you do. You always did. You just had to believe it. That weekend, I got my first potential client through a friend's referral. A small business owner who needed help organizing his finances. When can you start? He asked after we met. Really? You clearly know your stuff, and my books are a disaster. I started the following week, 3 hours on Saturday. He paid me $300. It wasn't much, but it was mine. My apartment slowly filled with evidence of change. Japanese textbooks on the coffee table, business cards, a corkboard with my Japan itinerary, promotion prep notes scattered across my desk. The old me would have seen it as clutter. The new me saw it as proof of life being lived. Friday afternoon, Margaret called me into her office. Shut the door, she said. My heart stopped. The position is yours if you want it. 20% raise, your own team, more responsibility. She smiled. Congratulations. I actually teared up. Thank you, really. You earned it. You've always been capable of this. I'm just glad you finally see it. I called my family. They were ecstatic. My mother cried. Rachel offered to take me out to celebrate. That night, sitting in my apartment with a beer, I looked at the life coach contract still on my counter. $12,000 my family had spent because they thought I needed fixing. Maybe I had needed it, not because I was broken, but because I'd forgotten how to want things, how to try. I texted Diane, "Thank you." Her response, "You did the work? I just asked the questions. See you Tuesday?" "Definitely." For the first time in years, I was excited about what came next. And it turned out that feeling was worth way more than $12,000. The day before my flight to Japan, my family threw me a going-away dinner. Same restaurant as my birthday, which felt intentional. "We wanted a do-over," my mother explained as we sat down. "A better memory in this place." This time there were no envelopes, no surprises, just dinner and conversation. "Tell us about your itinerary," Rachel said. I pulled out my phone and showed them. Tokyo for 5 days, Kyoto for 4, Osaka for 3, then back to Tokyo for 2 more. Temples, gardens, museums, street food tours. I'd planned every detail obsessively. "You're really doing this," David said, shaking his head with a smile. "Solo trip to Japan. 6 months ago, you wouldn't even try a new restaurant alone. 6 months ago, I thought my life was fine. And now?" my father asked. "Now I know the difference between fine and actually living." My mother reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "I'm so proud of you. We all are." Even though I'm still not married with kids, I couldn't help the edge in my voice. "Even though," she said firmly, "you're happy, really happy. That's all we ever wanted, even if we were terrible at showing it." Rachel cleared her throat. "I have something to say. An apology, actually." She looked uncomfortable. "I've been jealous of you." "Jealous? Of me? You had the courage to build a life you actually wanted? I built a life that looks impressive on paper and makes me miserable." She twisted her napkin. "I make 6 figures and cry in my office bathroom twice a week. You make less and smile more. I think we had it backwards." "I'm not sure I had courage," I said. "I think I just got scared enough of staying still that moving forward seemed less terrifying." "That's what courage is," my father said. "Doing it even when you're scared." We talked through dinner about real things. Rachel admitted she was considering a career change. David confessed he and his wife were in counseling. My father talked about retiring early, maybe finally pursuing music again. "We're all figuring it out," my mother said. "None of us have the answers. We just pretended we did." After dinner, my father handed me an envelope. I tensed. "Relax," he laughed. "It's not another intervention. Open it." Inside was a check for $12,000. "What is this?" "Refund," he said. "We called Diane. She said you've paid for your own sessions the last 2 months. Said you didn't want to use what we'd prepaid because you wanted to choose it for yourself. So we're giving you the money back," my mother added. "Use it for your business, or your trip, or save it, whatever you want." "We trusted our judgment over yours," Rachel said. "That was wrong. This is us trusting you to know what's best for your life." I stared at the check, then at my family. "Thank you. Really. Thank you," my mother said, "for giving us another chance, for not writing us off." The flight to Tokyo was 14 hours of nervous excitement. I barely slept, just watched the map on the screen as we crossed the Pacific. Japan was overwhelming and beautiful. I got lost in Tokyo twice the first day, accidentally ordered things I couldn't identify, butchered the language constantly, and loved every second of it. In Kyoto, I visited the temple I'd planned to see 13 years ago during my study abroad. I sat in the garden for an hour, thinking about the person I'd been then, scared, playing it safe, running from opportunities. I texted a photo to Diane. Finally made it. Her response, "How does it feel?" Like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. The last night in Tokyo, I had dinner with another solo traveler I'd met at my hostel. Australian guy named James, traveling for 6 months. "What made you take the trip?" he asked. I told him the whole story, the birthday dinner, the life coach, the transformation. He laughed. "So your family insulted you into changing your life?" More like they loved me enough to tell me a truth I didn't want to hear, even if they did it terribly. And the life coach actually helped. She asked the right questions, made me uncomfortable, challenged me to want things again. I took a sip of sake. Turns out I'd been sleepwalking through my life for a decade. What woke you up? Realizing that comfortable and happy aren't the same thing. Back home, my apartment felt different. Still the same space, but I saw it through new eyes. It wasn't a fortress anymore, just a home base for a life I was actively living. My consulting business picked up. 3 clients became 5, then 8. I hired a part-time assistant. Started thinking about maybe eventually doing it full-time. The promotion was everything Margaret promised. Challenging, exhausting, rewarding. I had a team of 4 people who actually looked to me for guidance. Me, the guy who'd hidden in a safe job for a decade. 6 months after Japan, I went to a session with Diane. "I'm thinking about ending our sessions," I said. She smiled. "Good. That means you don't need me anymore." I didn't say that. I just think I'm ready to try on my own for a while. "What's the difference between now and a year ago?" I thought about it. A year ago, I was afraid to want things. Now I'm more afraid of not wanting things, of going back to that half-life. "You won't," she said confidently. "You've tasted what living fully feels like. You can't unknow that." "Thank you. For everything." "You're welcome. But remember, you did this." I just held up a mirror. My birthday rolled around again. This time, I was the one who suggested dinner at that restaurant. "Are you sure?" my mother asked. "We could go somewhere else." "No, I like the symmetry. Last year you gave me a gift I didn't want. That changed my life. This year I want to celebrate that." We gathered at the same table. This time the energy was different. Lighter. Real. "Speech!" David called out. "Oh God, no. Speech! Speech!" I stood up, embarrassed but smiling. "Okay, fine. Last year, you all gave me a gift that made me furious. A life coach. A $12,000 intervention wrapped up like a present." They looked uncomfortable. "And it was the best gift anyone's ever given me." My mother's eyes filled with tears. "You were right. I was stuck. I was coasting. I was calling it contentment, when really I'd just given up dreaming." I raised my glass. "So thank you for loving me enough to tell me the truth, even when I didn't want to hear it. For believing I could be more even when I didn't believe it myself." We toasted. My father cleared his throat roughly. Rachel wiped her eyes. "So what's next?" she asked. "Another trip? Business expansion?" "Actually," I said, "I've been thinking about teaching a financial literacy course at the community college. Just one night a week. Help people who are where I was? Stuck, scared, not sure how to move forward? That's perfect, my mother said. Later, walking to my car, my father caught up with me. I'm proud of you, son. Not because of the promotion or the business or the trip, but because you figured out how to be happy. Really happy. He paused. I'm still working on that. Maybe you can teach your old man a thing or two. Anytime, Dad. Driving home, I thought about that birthday dinner a year ago. How devastated I'd been. How certain I was that my family had betrayed me, exposed me, humiliated me. They had. But they'd also freed me. Sometimes the gifts we need most are the ones we never wanted. Sometimes love looks like uncomfortable truth. And sometimes the best thing someone can do is refuse to let you settle for fine when you're capable of extraordinary. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Hi! Your name came up in my business networking group. Heard you do financial consulting. Would love to chat about working together. A year ago, I would have been terrified. Would have found an excuse to say no. Now I smiled and typed back, I'd love to. When works for you? Because I'd learned something important this year. Comfortable was easy. Safe was simple. But neither one made me feel alive. And now that I knew what living actually felt like, I was never going back.